Let's take a look at these problems, okay? The key is, on a problem like this, simplify inside first. Okay, that is the key. Do not square this first. Don't square it. Look how big those numbers are. It's going to be super annoying. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to square it, right? But not yet. So I'm going to simplify. So first, piece by piece. 12 divided by 2 is 6, right? So this 12 is basically like 6 times 2. So when I cancel out this 2, I'm left with a 6, and the 6 is on the bottom. Okay, what's going on with these x's? This is 5 x's on top and 2 x's on the bottom. So what happens? Well, these two cancel, and I'm left with 3 x's on the top. What about the y's? So this is 1 y on the top and 2 y's on the bottom. So what happens is one of them cancels, and I'm left with 1 y on the bottom. Okay, now I'm ready to square this, right? So if I square this, this is, think about what that actually means, right? This is x times x times x on top and 6y on the bottom, and I'm multiplying by itself twice. So that's across the top, that's x times itself 6 times, that's x to the 6th. 6 times 6 is 36, y to the 2nd. Okay, looks like this. Let's look at this one. What does this negative exponent mean? It means that things are in the wrong place in the fraction. So I look at the fraction and I notice this fraction is already simplified, right? There's no numbers on the top, there's no x's on the top, there's no n's on the bottom. So this is simplified. I'm ready to go ahead and do this. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this fraction and I'm going to flip it over and make this exponent positive. Why? Because this negative sign means that things are in the wrong spot. So if I just take them and I put them in the other spot, right? If I put this top thing on the bottom and this bottom thing on the top, now the exponent is no longer negative. So now I can just focus on cubing it, which looks like this, right? And look, I'm going to be lazy. I'm not going to actually write it 3 times. So I'm just imagining that it's written again, right? Like I'm imagining this is here and here. So 3 times 3 times 3, that's 27. X times 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 x. That's 9 x's, right? That's 3 x's 3 times. Now this is 5 n's, another 5 n's, another 5 n's. That's a total of 15 n's. Let's keep going. Here, I'm going to take this problem and I'm going to make it like this problem. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh, right here, this is negative. So that means it's in the wrong spot. So I'm going to make it into a fraction where this 4, that stays on top, and this b squared, that stays on top. Those didn't have negative exponents, but this did. So it's going to move to the bottom, and then of course the exponent becomes positive. Okay. Now, this exponent is still negative, so look, I'm going to do the same thing that I did here, right? I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to change this to positive. Okay, so now this is, I'm squaring this, right? So let's just go ahead and be lazy, like let's just do this, like let's just pretend. Okay, so this is a times a times a times a, 2 times. So there's 4 a's here, another 4 a's here. So that's a to the 8th. Along the bottom, this is 4 times 4, that's 16. And there's b times b times b times b, that's 4 b's. Okay. Last one. This one's the longest, but it's not the hardest. It's just the same junk we've been doing, right? So it's actually the most similar to this one, where I have this positive exponent here. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to simplify what's on the inside. So piece by piece. 14 divided by 7 is 2. Okay, so this 14 is like 7 divided by 2. Sorry, 7 multiplied by 2. I cancel the 7. I'm left with the 2. What's happening with the a's? This a has a negative exponent. This a has a negative exponent. So that means this a is going to move up to the top. So I already have 4 a's on top. Now I have another a up there. So I have a total of 5 a's on top. Okay, there's a total of 5 a's up there. Oh, sorry, let me make this neat so that we don't get confused later. Okay, now the b's. What's happening with the b's? These b's, now here the negative exponent is on top. So those 2 b's, those ones with the negative exponents, they're going to move down to the bottom. Right? These 4 b's are going to stay there, and these 2 are going to move down. So there's 4 b's and another 2 b's. That's a total of 6 b's. And then here with the c's, there are no negative exponents. This is just 3 c's on top and 1 on the bottom. One's going to cancel and leave me with 2 c's on the top. Okay? So now if I'm going to take this to the third power, that's all of this 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. This is 5 A's, another 5 A's, another 5 A's. It's 5 times 3, that's a total of 15 A's. This is 2 C's, another 2 C's, another 2 C's. That's 2 C's 3 times, that's 6 C's. And across the bottom, this is 6 B's, another 6 B's, another 6 B's. That's 6 times 3, that's 18 B's. And there we go. It's going to be your turn to try.